Here we go. All right, so we are in Pirkei Avos, beginning the sixth Perek, Mishna Beis. Amr Yeshua ben Levi. B'chol yoyim v'yoyim baskol yoytzeis mehar cherev. Every single day, a baskol comes out from Har Cherev, which is Har Sinai. Umachrezes v'oimeres, and it yells out and says, Oy lohem lebrios me'el b'nei shel Torah. Woe to the Brios because of their insult to the Torah. What's the insult? Because they don't learn it. And shekol mi she'eino oisik b'Torah, anybody who's not oisik in Torah, nikor nozuf, he is considered nozuf. They explain it means someone who's in Torah. And Nazifa. Shenemar nezem zov ba'af chazir isha yafa v'soras tam. That's a golden ring in the nose of a pig is what somebody a beautiful lady who doesn't listen to reason. That's what a person, a Talmid Chacham who leaves Torah is like. He goes ahead, he has a beautiful keli, and he's misusing it. And nezem zahav ba'af chazir. When you see a golden ring in the snout of a pig, you don't touch it. It's gross. So too, if you have somebody who doesn't learn 100%, he's giving an insult to Torah. He doesn't take it as seriously as he could. Here is an opportunity to do good, and yet people don't take it. That itself is an insult. And just imagine you go ahead and you buy your kid a trampoline or something like that. And you buy him a trampoline, a pool, a basketball court, and he's got all these things in his backyard. And then you come home, and he's like, I'm so bored. What do you mean you're so bored? Go to the backyard and play. I bought you all these things. I don't want to. And don't tell me you're bored. I did all these things. I set all these things up for you, and you're wasting the opportunity to play. And you get upset at the kid. I gave you all these things, and there's absolutely no reason for you not to utilize them. Why are you wasting the opportunities that I gave you? And of course, the greater the waste, the greater the anger. So here, Hashem set us up on this world with opportunities to create Olam Haba, which will last forever. And people don't take it seriously. So that's an elboin, it's an insult to the item. You go ahead and you squander opportunities, that is an insult to the item. And that's what it means, a person who goes ahead, he has Torah, and so if you have somebody who doesn't have Torah, doesn't know how to learn, doesn't have brains or whatever, so then it's not such an insult. But you have somebody who has the brains, and he doesn't take those opportunities, that is like a golden ring in the snout of a pig. It's a wasted opportunity, and it is, the Torah itself is as if it got the insult. And of course, we have to take these things, again, literally and seriously in our lives. Of course, this is not to say a person can't take a break. He needs a break. Breaks are, of course, but as long as you have the right hashkafa, then you're not going to take the breaks out of context. You're going to go ahead and take the breaks in measure to help you learn more. And another pasuk about Torah, as it says, the luchos were creations of Hashem, and the writing was the writing of Hashem, charus al haluchos. They were inscribed on the luchos, engraved on the luchos. Al tikar charus el cherus. Do not say engraved, rather cherus. It means freedom. The only person who's free is somebody who learns Torah. And we have spoken about this many times, so I'm just going to say Rashi Prakim over here. What does it mean to be free? The same way a person goes ahead and what does it mean to be free? What does that mean? You have these people who are chiloni. People are chiloni. They're free, aren't they? if you have two people, one of them is a Ben Torah, and he doesn't do what he wants. He goes ahead and he fights his Yetzer Hara, and he has the best piece of juicy Lashon Hara. Right now, Rabbi say, I have an amazing piece of Lashon Hara, but I'm not saying it. And what's the pshat? Because I want to go ahead and serve Hashem. So I'm forced not to say Lashon Hara. And you have another person who's walking in the streets. Right now, today, on the Memorial Day, you know what the beaches look like? And it's a nice hot day in most of the country. So the beaches are amazing, yet we don't go. So now you have another person who does go. Who is the free one? Who can do what he wants? So we asked this question many times. The answer is, a person who wants blueberry cake and gets blueberry cake is not free, because albeit he gets what he wants, but he's forced to get what he wants. He wants, his passions and his lusts are driving him to do that. If you have a person who has passions and lusts and he doesn't listen, he's also not free. That's not a free person. If I am driven to go to the beach, but I don't because I love Hashem, I'm not considered a free person. What's a free person is a person who's in the middle of a sugya. You're in the middle of screaming in a rashba. In half an hour, when we're going to be screaming about a ritva, at that point, imagine somebody goes ahead and says, do you want to say over that Lashon Hara? I'll be like, what? I'm totally attached to Hashem. You think I want to say a piece of Lashon Hara? Gross. I'd throw up. I don't want that. That's a real free person. Why am I free at that point? Because at that point, when I have nothing pushing me either way, I can objectively look at the act and I can say, is this a proper act for me to do or not? I don't have anything pushing me to do it or not to do it. So now I can objectively look at the action. Should I sin or shouldn't I sin? And then my soul will say, of course not. That's gross. Why would you want to sin? The only time you get to that level is if you are in middle of a sugya. If you're attached to Hashem, then you're able to say, gross, I don't want that. The same way, if you're a non-smoker and I offer you a cigarette right now, you'll be like, why would I want it? It causes lung cancer, it stinks, I'm never gonna date, so why would I do that? So that is a free person. I give you an option. Do you want it or do you not want it? And you have 100% objectivity. Can I go ahead and I can say I do or I don't? Make a decision. So let's see, the pros are, well, there's no pros. The cons are, and you're able to make a decision. Masha'enken, if you're addicted to it or you appreciate it, you can't make a clear decision. So regardless of if you're able to do it or not, you're not a free person because your brain is leaning towards one way. Only a person who's in the middle of a sugya can objectively make a decision. Should I go to the beach right now? Why would you go to the beach? You only have to lose. So I can objectively make a decision. That's what's called a free person. The guy who goes to the beach, he's called a chiloini, not because he's really free, because he doesn't have Hashem on him. That's true. But he is taka meshubed because he's not making a fair decision. He is not totally free of his decision. And now if you have the yeshiva bacher who desperately wants to go to the beach and he mamish doesn't go, that's also not a free person. He's not free. He's fighting with his Yetzer Hara. That's not free. It's a very nice. Baruch Hashem, he's fighting, but he's not free. The only person who's free is a guy who's in the middle of a sugya and doesn't even want to go. Now let's ask you, okay, you don't want to go. So do you want, maybe you should go. He'll say, well, you're giving me a decision to make. Yes, no. Well, I have Hashem going to kill me on one side, and I have nothing on the other. Why would I go? He is the only person who's really free to make a decision. If he wants to go, he can go. Nobody's stopping a person from sinning. You want to go ahead and go. So the guy who listens to his Yetzer Hara, he's not free. The guy who's fighting with his Yetzer Hara, he's not free. Only if you're involved in the sugya, that's the only person who's taka free. That's one point to make that we always make. And a second point to make is it says it's charus ala luchos, it's engraved. What does it mean it's engraved? So we have explained this many times as well. The vart is that you change your brain. they say that the brains of taxi drivers have much bigger in the areas of maps, because the more you use your brain, the more the pathway of the neurons go differently. And therefore, if you become a habit, if you have a habit to go ahead and use your brain azoi, so then when you stop thinking, then, for example, when I walk, I don't think right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. I don't think that. When I chew, I don't think, okay, tongue, move the food to the back of the throat and I'll chew. You don't think it just happens naturally. Because the first time you ate in your life, you did have to think. Until you made the neurons, until you focused and you created a pathway of a habit of how to eat. And therefore, that's called choros al aluchos. Choros al your soul. The way to eat is choros. It's engraved on your brain. Your brain, you engraved on the brain the way you have to eat, and it became a habit. The neurons are different. You changed your brain. The pathways in the brain are different. So a person has to become and make the Torah the pathways of his brain. If a person, every single time he thinks about something, he thinks gaiva, or he thinks taiva, or he thinks kina, the brain will be a gaiva brain. Mamela, anytime he has any thought, it will automatically run through the gaiva portion of his brain. Anytime, if he's a taiva person, anything that comes up, he will automatically think of taiva until he retranslates his brain. This is pshat in the Gemara, by the way, that it's that Rav Huna says that if a person doesn't get married by the time he's 20, he's never going to be saved from sin for the rest of his life. Because if until he's 20, by that point, he has engraved a path in his brain that passes through the taivas nashim, and he can't undo those things because those pathways in the brain are set. It's like walking through a forest. You walk through once, new. You walk through twice, new. But you walk through 1,000 times, you create a new pathway in the brain. That's pshat in that Gemara. And Mamela, you have to charos al aluchos. You have to go ahead and engrave it on your head, engrave it on your heart. Torah. It has to be engraved. And if you look at Rav Steinman's brain, if you would donate it to science, you would see different pathways than your average person. You would see that the area that explains Torah is stronger, is thicker. Just like a taxi cab brain, driver's brain is different in the area of maps, his brain would be different in the area of Torah. That's the job of that's our job, to engrave it on the brain alain. It's mamish a metzias. The metzias is the brain swells in the areas that you move it, that you use it more. And that's our job, not to have it in the gaiva part, not to have it in the taiva part, not to have it in the kina part, to have it in the Torah part. That's a whoever goes up in Torah, whoever's Isaac in Torah, he goes up. This is a drasha because the pashtos of the pasukim are just saying just saying where the Klal Yisrael stopped in the Midbar, but we darshan it. This is a Gemara it's in the Gemara in the Darim that says that Matana Nachliel, for going from the place Matana to going to the place of Nachliel, so it becomes a gift. Hashem's gift becomes an inheritance, and from becomes an inheritance, if you take it as an inheritance, bamas, you get lifted up. That's one Mishnah. Let's see another Mishnah. If somebody learns from his friend even one perek, or even one halacha, or even one pasuk, or even one word, or even one letter, he's got to give him covered. That we find from David Melech Yisrael. He only learned two things from Achitefel. Achitefel famously was, of course, he was a David HaMelech's advisor. He joined teams with Avshalom when Avshalom went against David, and Achitefel was actually not a good guy. In fact, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says he has no chelik in Adam Haba. Yet he was David's Rebbe in 2 times. He taught David 2 things. Number one, he taught him. He gave him Musar once not to be about Gaiva because David Melech walked into the Beis Medrash with his head up, and the second one, he told him that he has to learn with chavrusas. So those are the 2 things that he taught him. And nevertheless, David, for the rest of his life, called Achitofel. He says, Rabbi, he called him his Rebbe, Alufai, I think it's usually his general, and Yudoi, his close confidant. Shenemar va'ata enosh ke'erki alufa yom yidoi. V'haloi dvarim kal v'chaymer. David Melech Yisrael shalom man machi tevel el shnei dvarim b'vad. David Melech, who was the great king who knew tons of Torah, and yet he learned only two things from Rachi Teifel, called him his Rebbe alufa yom yidoi. Haloim mechaber Perek echad. If somebody learns from his Rebbe one Perek or one halacha or pasuk echad or dibur echad or filo ois echad, then the kal v'chaymer is, even though it's a shtickle of dayai, because David Melech learned two halachas, but l'maisa tzorchin what happened to dayai over here. Certainly, if somebody learns from his friend even one chiddush, it's you have to be noeg covered. The ain covered al Torah, shenemar covered chachamim yinchalu utmimim yinchalu toiv, and covered is Torah, as it says, covered chachamim yinchalu. You have to give the chachamim, wise people, covered, and utmimim yinchalu toiv. The ain toiv el Torah, toiv is good, is Torah shenemar kilekach toiv nasad lechem Torah su alta ezebim. So this means that to give a person honor by letting him talk first, by waiting him for Shemana Esrei and things like that, that is a shtickle. It's not real honor; it's fake honor. So the only reason why a person should give somebody else honor is for the Torah. That's what it means. That when you're giving honor, we give honor for Torah. The fact that a person is able to aim a ball into a basket is not a reason to honor him. Okay, I mean, this. In fact, Rabbi Yisrael Belsky, I believe, takes this svara to the next extreme. I think it was him, and he says, "Memela, it's mutter to praise a guy and say that he's a good basketball player, even though there's an iser of leisichanim. Nevertheless, he says, maybe it's a Rampa, maybe. He says, nevertheless, that it's mutter to say that he's a good basketball player because big deal, he's a good basketball player. So most players can disagree because at the end of the day, that is what's chashiv in today's dar. So it would be also to say. But nevertheless, this Mishna is saying that the only real praise a person can say about somebody else is in covered al Torah. A famous story with Rav Chaim Kanievsky. I think we said it over recently, where Rav Chaim said the guy won the lottery, and he came to Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and Rav Chaim's like, he says, I'm worried about ayin hara. I bought a new house, I bought a new car. So Rav Chaim says, are you able to learn more because of the lottery? No. Are you able to learn deeper because of the lottery? No. So why do you think anybody's jealous of you? Ain't covered in the Torah. The only real covered out there is Torah. Okay. It looks like I don't know if we'll finish this week because we only have 2 more shiurim, but we'll see. Okay, let's stop over here and